Go. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic That's Known Classic. This is episode number 3370 and Doubleshot number 3264. I have a Turtles trade and a Star Trek trade. This Turtles trade is the only one that has been recently released in this app. So, here we go. The thing with this book is, it's one of 4 ongoing series for Turtles right now. You have this, the main series, and Nightwatcher, and that's it. This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Nation. Yeah, it's an anthology book. It serves some purpose as Teenage Mutant Turtles universe. By the way, this book contains the Monster feature story from TMNT Alpha, and the first, I believe this is the first 5 issues of TMNT Mutant Nation. Monster Island is done by Tom Waltz. Tom Waltz also does Ambush Area 51. There's also Pepperoni on the side is Paul Eller. Eric Burnham does Casey Jones' Age of the Foot Clan, and Frogs vs. Punks written by Caleb Gowler. You have Gavin on the arc for Monster Island. Jose Jara does Pepper on the side. The arc for Ambush for the Area 51 is Vincent Vericki. The Casey Jones was Matthias. And the last one is basically Alice Krennis and August Kennis. So, Monster Island, it is pretty much basically what it says. It's basically about a woman who gets turned into a monster. And Ode Hobb is here. Yes, Ode Hobb is here. This is basically his place. And a woman turned into a monster. We have one woman, and we have Mutant Town, which for some reason the current district attorney doesn't recognize as an actual place because he hates mutants for reasons per se. So, yeah, and we send people to this island to people webbed up by the spider creature. Hobb is here. We have, I think it's Michelangelo just being a rock star. Angel is basically watching all this stuff here. Yeah, it's a very interesting story. Do they deal with the person very end? Yes, they do. Next story, Pepper on his side. It's a Raphael story. Yep, Raphael. And you think Pepper on his side, oh yeah, it must be a Pete story. Well, it is mostly focus on this one creature who's a friend of Raphael's. And we basically follow around the whole story, where he goes place to place. It's a little journey. It's okay. Then we have Ambush Area 51. This is a multi-part story, which basically follows up with that one, which also has the Becca feature of Casey Jones. This, simply put, is Raphael handling bikers, and does he break it at 51? Well, then we have I think it's a turtle droid, I think it is. Metalhead, I think it is. Yes. He showed up here. And it's, I think it's like a 2 or 3, I think it's like a 3-part story, I think it is. Where basically he's dealing with him throughout the course of these issues. And he does break Area 51, which apparently is a prison for mutants. Yep. Pete the Pigeon is here too. Yep, so Raphael basically just goes in this place, breaks the mutants out. Yep, actually he does get captured, but he does eventually escape. Yeah, and and it's wrapped up there, and of course it's shut down. And they have Casey Jones, Agent of the Foot Clan. Interesting idea for Agent of the Foot Clan, given the fact that in the main book he has nothing to do with the Foot Clan. They do note the fact this book takes place right after issue 150, but my guess is before the events of issue 1 of the relaunch. So you have mostly put just adventures of Casey Jones, member of the Foot Clan, just fighting their thugs, being a vigilante for them. That's kind of the gist of the story, but all the stuff here is really, really good. I give it roughly a 9 out of 10. Excuse me. Next up we have is Star Trek New Visions. Forgot to finish reading this one. Hang on, give me just a minute here. Sorry about this. I thought I finished reading this book. Just give me a minute here. Okay. Now. So, this I believe is volume number 5. Yeah, this is volume 5 for Star Trek New Visions, collecting issues 12 to 14 of the series. Of course, written and photographed by John Byrne. The first story is called Swarm, where basically they're exploring some weird anomaly. The new one at the start of this one is 4575.9. Basically, they're just looking at this particular swarm. It's almost seemed like they're fighting a mini invasion, and Spock gets put in the sick bay because of this stuff here. It's a really fun, action-packed story. And they do bring a little ships on board. As for what these creatures look like who pilot these ships, never shown. Then we have the hidden face. Oh boy! This story. Okay, the hidden face is basically this. So, apparently, they didn't want to communicate with them because they're not wearing these golden masks. And apparently, they're afraid of the naked face. Yeah. And he thinks of his lower people, and of course, then they take off his mask, but nope, gotta keep the mask on for reasons. Yeah, as for the reason, not really sure why. It's just a part of his people. I wonder, and of course, we have craft these golden masks for the Kirk and the crew to wear on this planet because apparently it's offensive to show your face on this planet. And they're taken captive. There's infight between Spock and Kirk over this stuff, and I'm like, reading this, I'm like, nowadays the context is this basically a play on what happened in 2020? Possibly, who the heck freaking knows. It's a weird society. Everybody's wearing masks for reasons. Yeah, then they leave. Then eventually they do in fact have the mask removed. Yep, and they take them off, and they just... Yeah, it's a really dumb story. And then we have a story called Sam, which focuses on the Klingons. Yep. Over Subway 7. And we see that his brother doesn't think it's probably before his death in Operation Annihilate. Yep, and then we meet his brother who kind of looks like Kirk. Yeah. That's Kirk's brother. Because I remember in the Operation Alley story, his brother died And his nephew was the only one left alive, so... And it's basically a big murder mystery of who framed Kirk's brother for murder. And then we see... Well... Captain Koloth. Yeah, this is the Klingon from... Trouble the Chibbles. Yep. Yeah, this is the very same Klingon from that story. And... kind of something he's here. And they get beamed away to the Klingons, and because the fact this murder involves the Klingons, and like his reputation precedes them because it's the Klingons mostly. So this is at the Chibbles, but before Operation Now. That's where you can place the story. This is a really good story. And by the end, basically, it's like, yeah, it turns out, basically, he didn't exactly commit the murder, but he had to go, like, undercover. Then we have more of the serpent than the dove. Interesting. Where, get this, in this story, we have the Enterprise hosting the Gorn. As in the same species who debuted in the arena. And, of course, basically, it's like, that's who the ambassador is. The guy at Sith Ford, he is the chief delegate. The one behind him is the ambassador. Apparently, after their first encounter in the classic episode of the arena, apparently no reputation. The whole thing, this one's hosting delegates for the Gorn. Yes, the Gorn. It is quite interesting seeing these creatures again. Because here's the weird thing about the Gorn. Guess how many guess how many times in Star Trek the species ever appeared? Twice. In the episode of the arena from the original series, and they also appeared in a Mirror Darkly Part 2 in Star Trek Enterprise Season 4. Though that one was CG, but I'm counting it because that's the only other appearance of the Gorn ever in Star Trek. I think they've been referenced a few times. But it is quite interesting to see the Gorn inside the ship. Especially as the last encounter. And they're not here to cause a war. Like we murder mystery and like... But yeah, it's a really fun thing. And of course, basically, they have a lot of fun. And, well, that's it. I'd say of the three stories, I really enjoyed the Gorn one. The Mass one I really didn't care for. The Sam Kirk one was all over the place. But I love the appearance by Kirk Koloth from the story. I would say of the four stories in here, I'd say the Swarm is probably the weakest because actually I wouldn't think Swarm. I would say it's probably the Mass one. I did not like the Mass one at all. If I want to think the best one, it's probably the Gorn one. Yep. But yeah, that's pretty much a particular video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. Next up we have is My Hero Academia. Next video. Bye.